Since the pandemic happened, man, we do the pop-ups. It's never been more money in my city since the rock-up. I just wanna bag fast and avoid the coppers. They on the ground acting rich, need to win an Oscar. We just tryna have fun, chillin' with our partners. In the summertime, sunshine through blue blockers. Real niggas united, steppers and top shotters invited. Come together without violence. But when that fun turn to beef, niggas hear sirens. That's when the smiles turn to frowns, nigga the town wildin'. And leave the streets wet just like a fire hydrant. Let's get back to the ladies, man, they so vibrant. And they need a protector. I'm Hannibal Lecter. I'm eating the pussy up, they suck on the nectar. And if it's up, then it's up, I'm giving them extra. And when it's a hot girl summer, she's a home wrecker.
All these bad bitches outside. If you're looking for me, I'll be outside. Me and my niggas and you know we outside. Mobbing from the north to the east side. Sipping on the Henny outside. I got it on vacation from the outside. That dress is pretty, but I want you outside.
This shit is wicked in these mean streets, mean streets.
What's shaking, Evil Streets fam? You already know we back with another one. Shout out to all my members and subscribers for tapping in on a daily basis. Y'all the reason for the channel's growth and success. Anyone looking to promote their music, brand, or business, email me at evilstreetsmedia@gmail.com. We can get something going. I appreciate all the Cash App donations as well, and anybody who wants to support the channel can do so at Evil Streets TV on Cash App. All donations go straight back into the channel. All right, y'all, let's get right into this gangster-ish. Lockwood Elementary and Havens Court Junior High weren't just a couple of schools on the east. Nah, they were dead in the middle of a war zone, tucked right on 66th Ave between two of Oakland's most infamous and battle-tested hoods, 65th Village and 69th Village. These two projects had seen generations come and go, but they also birthed some real ones, and most notably, they molded and trained up NorCal's youngest, richest, and coldest cocaine kingpin, Lil D, or as the streets called him, Lil D, came up in the wild Reagan era, back when the feds were pumping that just say no nonsense while secretly letting bricks flood into every hood from the Bay to the Bronx. It was that Iran-Contra time when the U.S. government and them boys over at the CIA were basically the plug. East Oakland was getting hit heavy with powder, and Lil D, he was right there in the middle of that hurricane, learning how to swim in deep waters. But D wasn't no average youngin'. He came from royalty. His uncle was none other than Big Fee, Oakland's original Don, the city's first godfather when it came to real organized street business. Lil D grew up over on Seminary, maybe 10 blocks from the 69th. His mama's people had one of the biggest families out the village. Two of his uncles worked under Big Fee back when the mob was running things heavy, and his aunt, she had one of Big Fee's kids. That wasn't just family ties, that was mob lineage. D spent mad time in the village, especially at his granny's spot deep in the heart of the block. That crib was like a training camp. He soaked up everything from how the mob moved, how they handled money, respect, power, and beef. He was barely big enough to hold a football, and already he was peeping street strategy like it was second nature. Now understand, 69th and 65th weren't just neighbors, they were family. That was a real tight-knit community. If one ate, everybody ate. If one starved, they all felt it. They laughed together, mourned together, went to war together. It was a concrete bond. The kids that came up in them projects didn't just grow up side by side. They learned early to ride for each other. From sandbox to senior year, the village kids held it down like soldiers. If you touched one, you had a whole wave coming behind it. Lil D started shining early, even back in elementary. People watched him because of who he was related to, but he earned his own name too. D was sharp, athletic, and fearless. Played baseball and basketball in all the youth leagues around the East, but a lot of them games turned into chaos real quick. If hands needed to be thrown, D was ready, and he never moved alone. At any game, you might spot 20, 30 village heads ready to stomp somebody out on cue. If you knew, you knew. And the ladies, they had their own squad too. The 69th Angels. Don't let the sweet name fool you. They weren't scared to get busy on any chick out of pocket. They were known to dish out fade on sight. You could always spot the village boys from a mile away. They'd be mobbing on beach cruisers with white walls, 3 deep on each one. One pedaling, one posted on the handlebars, one holding down the pegs. Sometimes 10 or 15 bikes deep, like a parade of little soldiers. One of them might even be on a double-seater just because. Their whole look was classic East Oakland. Levi 501s, thick hoodies, and them box-top beanies or the ones hanging down like Smurf hats. Bald heads all around. That was their signature style. Clean domes like their OGs before them. These weren't just kids on bikes, though. These were future shot callers, sons and nephews of real hitters from the original 6ix9ine mob. They were raised on rules, loyalty, and survival. From the first time they peeked out the blinds as toddlers, they saw real life happening in the streets, shootings, hustling, betrayal. It was all regular programming. Mob activity was everyday life. Seeing a body laid out on the pavement, that didn't shake them. It hardened them. It trained them. Right down the street from all this was the Rainbow Center on Seminary and East 14th. That was the neighborhood rec center, the spot where kids played sports, kicked it after school, and stayed posted during the summer. That center gave a lot of them their first taste of competition, and their first fights, too. The core squad that stood tall around Lil D was deep with future legends. You had names that echoed in the streets like Fat Hub, Kenny Wayne, Black, Scarface, Sylvester, Dada, Wayne Gordon, Marvel, Candyman, Lil Pat, Gary Tillery, Benny Mays, Green-Eyed Floyd, Rick, Sean, Pooh Man, Lil Jerry, Dutta Duke, James Magnum, Seagram, Stone, Yogi, Fat Gene, Rab, Chauncey, Dion, Tim, D.H., and of course Big Fee's son, Lil Wayne. They were the first generation under Lil D's wing, and together they would go on to flip East Oakland on its head. Lil D was the thread that stitched Seminary to the village, the bridge that made two wild zones move like one. And the Rainbow Center? That was the headquarters, the rally point where young goons linked up and plotted moves. It wasn't just a rec center, it was the breeding ground for what would become a tight-knit squad of natural-born killers, future legends out of the East. Seminary wasn't no stroll-through block. It was a savage stretch of drug spots, liquor stores, cutthroat alleys, and after-hours speakeasies. Bodies dropped so often on that strip, they started calling it the cemetery. It had a smell to it, money, murder, and power. By the time Lil D hit junior high, him and the village were one, moving under the same flag, repping the name SNV, short for Seminary and Village. This wasn't no little clique. This was the street militia covering 2 whole projects and about 20 blocks deep. They made it clear from the jump, power moves better when it's mobbed up. One of the wildest spots back then was Mojo's skating rink on 71st and East 14th. That was the local coliseum. If you weren't from the village, stepping in Mojo's meant you were gambling with your health. First thing they'd ask you, where you from? And if that answer wasn't the Ville, you were getting stomped, slapped, and possibly carried out. Lucky ones walked away dizzy with a concussion. That Tom Tom Club Joint Genius of Love? That was the unofficial squabble anthem. When it hit the speakers, all hell broke loose. Fists flying, crews throwing upsets, girls pulling hair, dudes getting trampled. Most rival turfs didn't even bother pulling up no more. They already knew Mojo's was Ville turf. And if it popped off, reinforcements were just a few blocks away. There were other rinks, too. Foothill Square and Roller Garden in San Leandro. But whenever the village mob slid outside their zone, they pulled up 50 to 60 deep, no less. Rocking cotton sweatsuits and gear stamped with SNV on the hats, tees, and down the pants legs. Straight war uniforms. They clashed with other turfs at every function, carnivals, concerts, malls, arcades, Malibu Grand Prix, Eastmont Mall, 4-Star Theater, the Castle Arcade. All them spots turned into battlegrounds when SNV stepped through. Even big names caught the smoke. One time after rocking the Oakland Coliseum, LL Cool J and his crew pulled up to the Castle Arcade. One of the lil homies from the village respectfully asked for an autograph. LL got slick with it, hit him with the hell no. That's when Lil D stepped up, slapped LL like he was a nobody and said, "Ninja, do you know who the off I am? I'm Lil D from SNV." The whole squad jumped in. LL's DJ, cut creator, and his bodyguard got done dirty right there. LL got the message loud and clear. After that, he dropped that "I'm going back to Cali" record. East Oakland ain't sweet. Lil D's first real taste of the game came courtesy of an old school partner who laced him up with a weed spot on Elizabeth Street just off Seminary. Liz, they called it. A white apartment complex right in the middle of the block. Cats could pull up, however, walking, driving, or pedaling, and grab anything from a nickel bag to a whole zip of that Colombian gold. Back then, Liz was booming, pulling in a couple racks a day. All D's folks would take shifts on Liz, pushing packs for a little come-up. D ran it different, though. He gave his workers 24 nickel sacks worth $120, but he only wanted 100 back. That extra 20? They kept it. That's how he bred loyalty. Liz stayed lit. Some days a grinder could burn through a whole G bundle. It wasn't uncommon to see 10 to 20 young hustlers out there on any given day. For most of them kids out the village and seminary, Lil D was a godsend. Moms and pops was either strung out or broke, so being able to hit the block and come back with a few hundred at 14 or 15, that was a blessing. At the time, Lil D was still young himself, riding on the handlebars of his partner's beach cruiser. No chains, no flashy gear, just a turf kid with a vision, surrounded by loyal Vilsters who treated him like royalty. By the time D stepped foot in Fremont High, he was already the talk of the town. Fremont sat on the corner of High Street and Foothill, a known stronghold for the High Street Bank Boys, a respected turf led by knockout artist Big Wee Wee. But all that changed fall of '83 when Lil D enrolled. From day one, Fremont became village territory. It didn't matter what school you came from. If you were with the Ville, you were taking shifts picking D up, making sure he got to class and back safe. Tony's Pizza across the street turned into the command center during school hours. Fremont dances and pool parties became war zones when the Ville and the Bank Boys clashed. But the Bank Boys couldn't hold it down. Too many L's, too many fades caught. Eventually they tapped out. Fremont High now belonged to Lil D and the 69th. Even with all the street activity, D stayed sharp in class. Perfect attendance, grades solid. Fremont was right on Foothill, so it doubled as a runway and weed market. Cars slid through, girls stayed fly, and dealers stayed clocking. Some of his classmates, Oakland legends, Too Short, Freddie B. But his day one was Fat Hub, his right hand. Hub would slide D to school in a black El Camino sitting on Star Wires and Vogues. People swore they were brothers. They looked that much alike. Hub came from a deep family out of seminary that ran East 16th with iron fists. His home base, simply known as the Block. Together, they were two young lions in a jungle full of wolves. But unlike the rest, Lil D had already learned how to lead the pack. Lil D really started popping out of his shell in high school when he stepped up his gear game heavy. Once quiet and laid back, he started flexing with confidence the minute his drip got right. His go-to spot was Mr. Z's in Eastmont Mall, a hood favorite. That's where he took all his workers to get laced. Mr. Z's was run by an Arab cat who already knew what it was when the village boys came through. Soon as they touched down, he'd lock the doors behind them and walk Lil D straight to the back like royalty. That's where the real exclusives were at. The heat that didn't even touch the shelves yet. Mr. Z's famous line was always, "Don't worry about the price, my friend, I hook you up." And if you dropped enough bread, he'd bless you with the flat rate. No tax, no games. The store stayed loaded with all the fly brands that had the block in a chokehold. Lecoq Sportif, Diadora, T.I., Fila, Troop, Bally, Nike, Reebok, Adidas, you name it. D didn't miss a beat. Every time a new pair of kicks dropped, he had to be the first one laced. His closet looked like a rapper's tour trunk, nothing but fresh fits and box fresh soles. By 11th grade, Lil D decided it was time to level up and grab a whip. All his older partners already had wheels, so it only made sense to boss up proper and salute the OGs. He copped a 71 four-door Chevy Impala, painted that thing smoke gray with a burgundy felt top and matching burgundy guts. Clean and classic. His school homie Byron from 77 Greenside used to ride with him, following tight in a turquoise blue four-door Chevy sitting pretty on Vogues with color key hubcaps. They'd be riding back to back like presidential motorcade vibes, and when Lil D pulled up, you already knew what time it was. All you heard was Aqua Boogie by Parliament knocking through the speakers, his anthem. The weed hustle had served its purpose, but the thrill was wearing off. It was time to boss up again. His right hand, Rick, started whispering about something new, this crack wave that was hitting the streets like wildfire. Rick's mama had a spot off Ritchie and MacArthur, deep in some housing authority apartments. Heavy foot traffic, dope fiends moving around like zombies looking for that hit. Lil D slid through to see what it was. It didn't take long, just one look and he knew. The block was hot, fiends knocking, deals going down non-stop. Before the sun dipped, he was sold. He circled up his tightest crew from the Liz Weed spot, laid out the new mission, and got them in formation. The game had changed, and he was ahead of the curve. Rick had the initial plug on the coke, so he grabbed a baby quarter, a measly 7 grams. Just a tester to see how it moved. They broke it down into dub rocks, $20 a pop. That whole starter pack, gone in 15 minutes flat. Had to serve up a few fades in the process too. Some local tough guys tried to press the issue, not feeling these village cats touching money on their turf, but once they realized who they were messing with, they chilled all the way out. Ritchie and Mac was now officially stamped as 69 mob territory. Lil D ran the crack spot just like he did the weed hustle. same deal, 20 on the 100. Workers kept the extra, and the money stayed flowing. But this crack game moved faster, and D wasn't playing. He had his team low-key competing. Whoever put up the best numbers got the crown. And the prize? An old-school Chevy, all original, ready to roll. But if you messed up a bundle or started smoking that rock in your blunt, the rest of the crew had to put hands and feet on you. That rule kept everything tight and in order. D never walked solo either. Wherever he went, he had a squad of head crackers and goon go-getters with him, ready to slide for him on sight. They called themselves LDI, Little Daryl Incorporated. That was his personal unit, his own branch of the Seminary Village tree. It wasn't just love, it was loyalty. They treated Lil D like a young general, and they stood on business for their 5'4" leader like he was 10 feet tall. Lil D had more than just his own squad. He had a whole network of crews moving under his flag. The most notable offshoot was People's Incorporated over on 35th Avenue. His childhood day one, Stone, ran point over there like a true field general. That was his turf, and he held it down heavy. Before long, folks from every corner of Oakland started repping the village. It became a whole movement. And like any movement, you had your official members, and then you had your clout chasers, the wannabes. D peeped game, but he wasn't tripping. He put them lames to work too. If you could make $1, he'd find a use for you. See, Lil D was cut from that cloth, straight business. Everybody had a role to play, and he played his part like a chess master. If you came correct, moved smart, and chased your bread the right way, he'd break bread with you. But if you were soft and goofy, he'd toss you a kilo on credit, then send them wolves to backdoor you and take it right back. Now you owe double. And if you fumbled that second shot, LDI was on your ass like Nike Airs on concrete. Right up the block from the apartments Lil D and Rick had turned into money machines was Papa Joe's auto detail shop. That was like the unofficial town hall for the hood's elite. Car washes, dice games, street meetings. It all went down there. One bright sunny day, D pulled up to get his girl Bernadette's candy apple red box Chevy all the way dipped. While he posted up politicking with TB from Dirt Road, a known heavy hitter in the coke game, he had no idea danger was creeping. An older neighborhood hothead, bitter about the way the village boys took over the scene, decided he had enough. While D and TB was chopping it up about prices and weight, gunshots cracked the air. Out of nowhere, one of D's young soldiers dove in front of him yelling, "F the world, I love Lil Daryl." He took 2 to the ribs and dragged D out the line of fire. D made it out untouched, but TB wasn't so lucky. He caught a bullet to the spine and was paralyzed for life. The dusty fool who sent the hit would come to regret it, quick. D wasn't just some street corner hustler. He was trained by the original 6'9" mob, had hitters on standby, and the heart of a general. His retaliation came fast, clean, and ruthless. After that, word got around, messing with Lil D in the village, that was a death wish. After that close call, D leveled up again. He stopped moving like a corner boy and started thinking like a CEO. The apartments on Ritchie and Mack couldn't contain the empire anymore. He was flipping weight now, kilos in rotation, and still had homework due. D was still in high school, but he was moving like a seasoned OG. The street started feeling his presence heavy. Every older D-boy in the Bay Area took notice. He wasn't just a youngin' with potential, he was a factor. The first major alliance D locked in was with Larry P. out the Acorn Projects. Larry ran the second-gen Acorn mob and was a certified beast in the field. But not everybody was feeling the move, especially D's uncle, Big Fee, who was locked up in the feds in San Francisco. Fee didn't trust Larry or his crew, but D was looking ahead. He saw opportunity. Larry P. had a whole system that brought in hundreds of racks on the regular. When they joined forces, it was like East Oakland and West Oakland signed a peace treaty and formed Voltron. That type of unity had never been seen in the town before. Soon after, another major player named Big Rudy got caught slipping and got bagged by the feds. That left a big hole in the game, and guess who slid right in? Yep, Lil D. Most of Rudy's clientele naturally gravitated toward D. He already had a foot in the door through Hillbilly, one of Rudy's top guys. D's sister had introduced them at a party a while back, and they clicked from the jump. Hillbilly was that dude in North Oakland's Bushrod neighborhood, moving serious weight. Once him and Lil D locked arms, it was like adding gasoline to a wildfire. That connection was the final piece to take D's grind to the next stratosphere. With the East, West, and North all under his umbrella, and the money flowing from all angles, Lil D skyrocketed into multi-million-dollar status before most kids his age even knew how to drive. Lil D had a sharp eye for talent, especially when it came to young hustlers who moved with sense and ambition. One cat that caught his attention was a high school D-boy named E.B. out of the Keller Plaza projects on 51st and Telegraph. D took a liking to him off the rip. He started flooding Keller Plaza with weight, basically handed E.B. the blueprint. Matter of fact, he even tossed him the keys to a baby blue drop-top 450 SL Benz, something D had got from his OG mentor, Daddy G. That wasn't just a whip, it was a crown. But the thing was, Lil D had already outgrown his original coke line in the town. The demand was heavy, and his supply was even heavier. He had tapped in with some LA connects, but they couldn't keep pace. He was pushing way too much work at a speed they couldn't comprehend. It wasn't until he linked with a Bay Area baller named JB that Ish really blasted off. They met on MacArthur, clicked instantly, and it was up from there. D and JB started throwing their money in one pot and made a serious move on JB's Colombian plug. That connect turned them into monsters. With the exception of a rival keyboy named AF from 99th and Plymouth, Lil D had the whole town stitched up, from east to west, from the north all the way into Berkeley. He had a dude named Lavelle holding down the waterfront for him, repping H2O. Then came Sonny for the money out of Richmond's Kennedy Manor. Sonny was slick with his and wasn't just about business, he was about favors too. Their alliance was cold. If Sonny needed somebody laid down, D sent hitters. If D needed somebody silenced, Sonny handled it. No questions, no hesitation. They had Southside Richmond sewed up tight until Sonny got knocked off by another notorious cat from Richmond. That hit sent ripples through the streets, but it didn't stop Lil D's momentum. By the time D was getting ready to walk across that Fremont High stage, he was sitting on an empire. He was Northern Cali's King Tut, young, rich, and untouchable. His right-hand Rick held the lieutenant spot, Black ran the day-to-day, Yogi was the go-to for enforcement, and Lil Jerry, he had the ladies on lock. They moved like bosses, and whenever a new whip dropped, they didn't just cop one, they copped 5. All different colors, same model, Benzes, BMWs, drop vets, Saab turbos, Grand Nationals, even some convertible Maseratis. When they cruised past Eastmont Mall, arms hanging out the windows, iced out with blue-faced Raleighs, it was like watching a music video in real life. That was motivation for every youngin' in the city. Lil D had officially reached Don status. Whenever he and the village showed up to events, crowds shifted like the Red Sea parting. It was like seeing royalty. In '87, when NWA hit the stage at the Oakland Auditorium, it brought out everybody. Oakland, the Bay, even some LA Crips who slid up in their Pendleton shirts, Jerry curls, glistening lowriders parked out front. But in the town, that look was dead. Only Mexicans still rocked Pendletons and rode low. The village rolled up deep, D leading the charge in $1,000 Bally leather sweatsuits with big bold B's stitched on the back. The Crips mistook them for Bloods, and when one of them mouthed off to the wrong village boy, it was on. The place exploded, fools got mopped, security was useless. It spilled outside, and when trunks popped, it was all bad. Some Crips got caught slipping and didn't make it home the same. The next day, the Oakland Tribune headline told it all. LA Crip gang members get shot up at NWA rap concert at the Oakland Auditorium. From that point on, Lil D Incorporated moved like a well-oiled machine. No other crew in Northern Cali could match their structure or their reach. Box seats at the World Series, floor seats at Sugar Ray fights right behind Donald Trump. They were living like hip-hop moguls before hip-hop had moguls. And D wasn't all dope either. He had some legit irons in the fire. He copped cribs in the hills of Oakland and San Leandro, jumped into the music game, dropped a record called Living in a Crack Town with his boy Rick, and even slid some funds into MC Hammer's early career. But the core of it all, dope. Coke money made it all spin. As he stepped into his late teens, D started dressing like a businessman, not just a dope boy. Slacks, silk button-ups, diamond cufflinks, traded sneakers for loafers with tassels. The streets still feared him, maybe even more now that he looked the part of a boss. He didn't even drive no more, he got chauffeured. Sat low in the passenger seat with his cap tilted like a preppy white kid, always with an Uzi or Mac 10 tucked close. By November '88, his 20th birthday was around the corner and he wanted to go out legendary. No house party, no club section, he went all out. Had Mr. Z from the clothing store front the cash for a black tie affair at Golden Gate Fields Racetrack. It was gonna be the party of the year. Out front, a burgundy Porsche 930 Carrera slant nose with a ribbon on it, his birthday gift to himself. His squad came fitted in black tuxedos with royal blue cummerbunds from Celix. Lil D rocked a white tux, black shirt, no cummerbund, different on purpose. The guest list was crazy. Gangsters from Detroit, Louisiana, Frisco, Richmond, East Palo Alto. JB pulled up in a black Rolls drop. Hammer and En Vogue performed. Gary Payton, B. Shaw, and other NBA cats pulled up just to salute the Street King. The party was lit. A couple windows got busted when ballers started showing out and chucking bottles at groupies, but Golden Gate Fields didn't trip. They were paid 30 stacks in advance. Afterward, D's boys flanked him with Mac 10s out like a movie scene while he walked to his Porsche. JB tossed him the keys and he hit the Bay Bridge, headed for the strip club with the top down. What he didn't know was the feds had been creeping in the shadows for a minute. They had zeroed in on an apartment in Adams Point near Lake Merritt, a safe house D and Black kept laced. And as fate would have it, one of the feds already had an apartment right above theirs. A few times they even ended up riding the elevator with D, chopping it up about sports and whatnot, acting regular. They couldn't believe this young cat was really the one moving the most weight in the Bay. 10 days after throwing that legendary black tie banger, the feds decided it was time to make their move. They said they could literally smell the coke cooking from the apartment below, like Sunday dinner if your mama was a chemist. On top of that, they claimed they kept hearing the loud, sharp chopping sounds like somebody was going to war with a blender. They already had the warrant signed, sealed, and ready, plus they had keys to the spot. When they kicked in the door, rocking their DEA flak jackets and pointing straps, they caught Lil D dead in the middle of the action. Hand in the cookie jar, if you will. All the man could do was crack a slight grin and say, "Y'all finally got me." That was it. The youngest kingpin in the town, Oakland's coldest, most feared street general, was officially in custody. The charges, straight heavy. 14 bricks of cooked crack, 7 more in powder form, a semi-auto on standby, and 10 bands in cash just laying around. On the ride downtown, one of the agents leaned over and on the low asked D not to retaliate or bring heat to his family because he knew D had once been knocking down his daughter. Wild. Soon as they had D in the holding tank, the feds acted like they just bagged a ghost, celebration mode. Agents and officers took turns peeping at him through the two-way glass like he was an exhibit. There sat the teenage kingpin, who had run the entire Oakland dope scene like a Fortune 500 CEO, and they couldn't believe he was just a kid. But D wasn't folding. He lawyered up quick, came in swinging. He fought that case for damn near 2 years before the verdict finally dropped. Guilty. They hit him with a 35-year federal bid, but even inside, his name still rang bells. Word is he was recorded on the jail phone handing down orders to his Lieutenant Black, allegedly blessing him with 100 birds. And it didn't stop there. They say D was tied to a few contract hits that the law could never stick on him, just whispers, no proof. While he was down, D stayed busy. He penned a book telling the real on his rise and crash in the drug game. That story had weight. He even got featured in Don Diva magazine, stamped as Oakland's Young Don. His legend didn't fade, it just matured. Then in 2016, history flipped. President Barack Obama commuted his sentence as part of a mass release of over 6,000 federal drug offenders. Just like that, Lil D touched back down. From the jump, Lil D had always been different, the youngest, the sharpest, and easily the most feared drug lord to ever rise up from Oakland's inner city trenches.
mean streets, mean streets.
What's good, Evil Streets family? You already know we back with another one. Much love to all my viewers and subscribers, and special shout out to every member of the channel. If y'all digging the content, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, which allows me to keep bringing y'all these videos. Every beat you hear in these videos and shorts is produced by yours truly. So anyone interested in any of the production you hear on this channel, email us at evilstreetsmedia@gmail.com. That goes for anyone looking to promote their music or business as well. Hit me up and we can cook something up. We started uploading these episodes to Spotify as podcasts as well, so anyone can just listen on any device while you're driving or trapping. Link is in the description. I'm starting a Patreon as well, where I will be dropping extended videos with more thorough deep dives, so be on the lookout for that. Also, anyone looking to just support the channel in general, you can send $1 or $1 million to our Cash App, Evil Streets TV. Every cent donated is invested right back into the channel. Make sure to comment if you do so. I can shout you out on the next video. All right, I've kept y'all long enough. Let's get to this gangster-ish. Enjoy the show. The game kicked off for Rudolph Big Rudy Henderson down by the Berkeley waterfront in a gritty little neighborhood close to the marina that folks called H2O. It was a rough and tumble pocket of the bay, a real melting pot where black, white, Asian, East Indian, and Jamaican families all lived shoulder to shoulder. It was the kind of place where you learned early how to stand on your own, how to hold your own, and how to hustle if you wanted more than what life handed you. From the jump, Rudy stood out. He wasn't just another kid running around the block. He had a natural athleticism and a deep love for weightlifting that would only grow stronger with time. He was one of those cats built different, solid, low to the ground, compact muscle stacked on top of more muscle. Around the way, he was known for being into hot rods and horsepower too, always talking cars, flipping through auto magazines, dreaming about burning rubber in a souped-up ride. That dream started becoming reality when he linked up with a fellow gym rat named Big Willie. Big Willie wasn't just about lifting heavy. He knew how to get inside a car and make it his, no keys needed. He put Rudy onto the game, showed him how to hotwire cars, and before long, the two were out there boosting whips like it was second nature. What started as a little side hustle turned into something bigger. They weren't just stealing cars for kicks, they were stacking bread, learning the ropes of an underworld economy built on rubber, steel, and speed. Eventually, Rudy's family made a move out to North Oakland, settling into the Bushrod neighborhood. Over there, Rudy tapped back into his love for sports. He played basketball, football, and baseball at the rec center off 59th and Shattuck, right behind Washington Elementary School. That park was legendary. It's where future MLB star Ricky Henderson sharpened his game, and yeah, Ricky and Rudy were tight. They came up around the same time, both grinding in their own lanes. Ricky chased bases. Rudy, he chased hustle. By his late teens and early 20s, Rudy was already making noise on the local bodybuilding circuit. He was winning shows, racking up trophies, getting respect. He stood 5'8", but carried himself like a giant. He was all muscle, no fluff. But even with all that, the streets were still calling his name. And when the call came, he answered loud. The real come-up happened when Rudy took his obsession with Camaros and turned it into a full-blown operation. He and his crew weren't just joyriding anymore, they were buying, flipping, and rebuilding 68 Chevy Camaros, fixing them up so clean you'd think they just rolled off the factory floor. They partnered with a slick auto shop owner who knew how to make stolen rides vanish on paper. Fake VIN numbers, forged titles, the whole nine. That little hobby, it turned into a well-oiled machine pushing serious profits. Rudy didn't forget where he came from either. He reached back to H2O, brought in some of his day one homies, and started a Camaro club. But this wasn't just about cars, it was about presence. These rides were statements. Every car in the crew had Corvette rally wheels, flashy paint jobs, GT qualifier racing tires, and attitude for days. On warm summer afternoons, they'd roll deep through the streets of Berkeley and Oakland, windows down, engines roaring, Rudy leading the way like a king on parade, shirt clinging to his chest, shades covering his eyes, and a short afro with pork chop sideburns framing his face. The top was always down and heads always turned, but with that kind of shine came heat. The feds started sniffing around. It didn't take long before the pressure cracked one of Rudy's associates, and just like that, Rudy got pegged as the ringleader. The whole operation crumbled overnight. Rudy caught a Fed case and got sent up for 3 years. Not the longest stretch, but long enough to force a man to sit still and think. While locked up, Rudy doubled down on what he knew best. He worked out religiously, stayed focused, and started dialing into his health like it was life or death. The prison gym was filled with Olympic-style weights, and for a guy like Rudy, that was heaven. With his background in semi-pro bodybuilding, he became a go-to guy on the yard. Inmates came to him for tips on training, on eating, on transforming their bodies. Rudy didn't just lead workouts, he inspired them. But the real shift happened when he met someone who would change the course of his life. A Colombian inmate, a top-tier trafficker from the infamous Medellin cartel, landed on the same yard for a short stint. Him and Rudy clicked instantly. They were from two different worlds, but their minds were aligned. They both respected the grind, both loved money, and both understood what power really looked like. They lifted together, traded stories, bonded over shared ambition. And the crazy thing, they were both getting out around the same time. That connection planted a seed. Rudy might have come into prison as a car thief with muscles, but he was coming out with a new kind of vision, one that stretched far beyond Camaros and chrome rims. The next chapter was about to be bigger, bolder, and way more dangerous. Rudy wasn't deep in the drug game before his stretch, not really. He dabbled here and there, but that wasn't his lane yet. But after watching how the world was shifting, seeing the streets getting swallowed whole by the crack epidemic, he knew the timing was perfect. All it was gonna take was the right plug. And that Colombian homie he met on the yard, that man was it. He wasn't no street-level dude either. He was straight pipeline status, certified. He looked Rudy dead in the eye one day and said, "In my country, no poquito, just tons." That line stuck with Rudy. That Colombian wasn't talking small time. He was talking boatloads. From that moment on, Rudy knew this was bigger than just lifting weights or making connections. This was about empire building. He put his arm around the Colombian and made sure nobody in that yard even looked at him sideways. Rudy had pull inside, and he used every ounce of it to keep his new homie safe. They became thick as thieves, never out of each other's sight. They trained together, broke bread together, and in between bench presses and push-ups, they mapped out their takeover of the Oakland drug scene. It wasn't just talk, it was chess, not checkers. Rudy was the first to hit the streets. Once he got that parole date, he hit the ground running. He started moving low but thinking big, linking up with a few of the neighborhood's low-key ballers who already had some skin in the game. He pulled them in close, whispered the play, and laced their boots about what was on the horizon. Then he went to work laying the foundation for when the Colombian touched down. Hotels were booked, burner numbers were locked in, and the first phase of the plan was already in motion. Rudy made sure everything was in place before his connect even stepped out that prison gate. For parole purposes, Rudy used his sister's address over on 55th Street in North Oakland. That's where he laid his head, at least on paper. But in reality, it was also home base for the business moves he was making. It wasn't far from Bushrod, his old stomping ground, so it was familiar turf. That corner of North Oakland sat right near the border of Berkeley, a working-class black neighborhood with deep athletic roots. Bushrod Park and the rec center on 59th were legendary, breeding grounds for future pro athletes, but also a magnet for hustlers, pimps, dice shooters, and OGs who never left the block. Cats would post up with weed smoke in the air, shiny whips parked up front, and the neighborhood ladies turning heads left and right. Rudy was already a name in that area. His Camaro Club days had made sure of that. But now, he was back with a whole different type of motion. Word spread quick that Big Rudy had some serious weight about to hit the streets. And with the caliber of his connect, Rudy knew he wouldn't be breaking down dimes on a stoop somewhere. Nah, he was skipping all that. Straight to brick status. No cut, no middleman, just pure grade A product, the real white. And right on schedule, the Colombian landed. The moment he touched down, he got at Rudy just like they planned. They sat down over a hot breakfast, ironed out the numbers, and mapped out the flow. The Colombian wasn't bluffing, he was all action. Soon as they gave the green light, the first shipment hit Rudy's doorstep straight from the Ochoa family, the shot callers of the Medellin cartel. This was the big leagues now. From there, the boom was instant. Rudy flooded the town. He brought in a group of young go-getters, cats like Hillbilly, Phil Moe, R.C. Cola, Joe Brotnax, PB, all solid dudes who were already half famous around Oakland Tech. These weren't your average corner boys. They were teenage legends with Benzes parked outside the school. 450 SLs, 280 SL convertibles, leather interiors, soft tops down. They wore V-neck sweaters, Izods, and Panama hats, smooth with it. Oakland Tech looked like a rap video set on most days. They even had a nickname for it, Bushrod High. Ho or die. Rudy had the game in a headlock, and he wasn't just serving North Oakland either. Word was he was supplying a young East Oakland D-boy by the name of Lil D, who was already starting to bubble in his own right. Rudy had keys on keys, more than he could count. Heroin had faded into the background. Cocaine had taken the crown. And with crack turning the city upside down, Rudy was right there at the center of it all, supplying, organizing, and staying 3 steps ahead. The town was his chessboard now, and every move was calculated. After stacking his bread and making all the right moves, Rudy finally decided it was time to level up out of his sister's spot. When he moved out, he didn't just grab a crib, he went big, real big. Rudy copped himself a massive estate tucked deep in the Napa Valley wine country, far from the noise of the town. This wasn't no regular house, it was a straight-up mansion, a boss-level retreat surrounded by vineyards and moneyed silence. Inside, Rudy kept it classy but bold. Modern decor, leather sectionals big enough for a whole crew, polished mahogany and oak dining tables that looked like something out of a billionaire's catalog, granite countertops, marble floors, top-of-the-line everything. He even had his own full-blown Olympic-style gym built into the place, fitted with every piece of equipment you could think of. It wasn't just for show either. Rudy stayed in beast mode. The garages, lined wall to wall with his collection of vintage hot rods, all souped up and shining like trophies. That man had more chrome than a car show. Soon enough, Rudy found himself back on the weightlifting scene, flexing like he never left. Prison had done his body right. He came out preserved like a time capsule, strong, cut, and hungry to compete, and it showed. He stepped into a local bodybuilding competition and walked away with the crown, Mr. Oakland. The win was so big it hit the front page of the Oakland Tribune with a pic of Rudy front and center. There he was, standing bold in his Speedos, banner slung over his shoulder, arms flexed like he was carved from stone, 21-inch biceps on full display. That photo made him a local legend all over again. From there, Rudy started hitting events up and down California. You could catch him regularly posted up at Venice Beach, training in the same sand as Arnold Schwarzenegger and Tookie Williams. This was when Venice was turning into Muscle Beach, thanks to all the bodybuilders showing out for the cameras and movie sets. Rudy fit right in, part of that elite crew with muscles, money, and respect. And with the streets still bubbling, Rudy was doing more than just bench pressing. He was rubbing shoulders with big names, celebrities, pro athletes, all drawn in by his hustle and charisma. One of his closest homies was none other than Reggie Jackson, the MLB legend. The two had a shared addiction, classic whips. Together, they stacked over 50 flawless rides, stored inside a climate-controlled warehouse in Redwood City. The collection was damn near priceless. And it wasn't hidden either. Folks could come see it, almost like a museum. Then one night, the dream went up in smoke, literally. The whole warehouse burned to the ground, every last one of those cars gone. The news was all over it, but only Reggie's name got mentioned. Rudy's name never hit the papers, which had the streets whispering. Word was it might have been an insurance play, but nothing ever stuck, just smoke and ashes. Meanwhile, Rudy had the town on lock. He was flooding the streets with that good Colombian powder. Kilos were going for $14.5, but if you came correct and copped more than one, you might slide out for 10 flat. And with the way he had it cooked up, one key could stretch into 1.5 easy. His product was too pure, too clean. Folks were eating. Crack had officially taken over the game, and Big Rudy was the man behind the curtain. But Rudy wasn't just feeding the block. He was setting his people up right. One of his biggest moves was investing in a liquor store called Ezel's out in East Oakland on 48th and Foothill. Ezel, the original owner, was a partner who'd caught a little coke habit of his own and fell too deep in the hole to climb out. Rudy had used Ezel's as a legit job reference before, so he figured it made sense to buy in and get his name attached. Sounded good until it didn't. The drama came when Rudy's parole officer slid through to verify that reference. Ezel, not knowing who he was talking to, said Rudy didn't work there. Boom. That slip-up got Rudy violated on his Fed parole and sent back to the pen for a quick stint. Big Rudy was heated. That one mistake cost him months of freedom. But while he was down, his sister stepped all the way up. She didn't miss a beat. She ran Rudy's business with the precision of a seasoned vet. She turned her house on 55th Street into HQ, the same address Rudy used when he paroled. With Rudy gone, she took the reins and even expanded the network, plugging in some of the boyfriends and husbands of her beauty salon clients into the pipeline. It wasn't long before the block was popping. Luxury cars were pulling up and sliding off all day long. Benzes, BMWs, drop tops, you name it. Everybody in the neighborhood knew what time it was, but nobody said a word, not because they didn't know, but because they knew who her brother was. And in Oakland, that kind of name held weight. Big Rudy might have been sitting down for a minute, but the empire, it never stopped moving. When Rudy came back home, it wasn't just a welcome party. He had unfinished business and a few scores to settle. Some folks had gotten real comfortable while he was locked up, forgetting who laid the groundwork. A couple cats had straight up defaulted on payments they owed, acting like Rudy's name didn't still ring bells. At the top of that list, Ezell, the same Ezell who ran the liquor store Rudy had invested in. Dude was first in line for a reckoning. It was one of them scorching summer days in the town when Big Rudy pulled up to handle things face to face. He met up with Ezell at a local detail spot right on the corner of West MacArthur and Market. Rudy wasn't looking to do no yelling. He stood there calm, arms folded, listening as Ezell started running his mouth trying to plead his case. But right in the middle of his excuses, a whip slid up out of nowhere. Rudy peeped the motion, stepped off to the side, and pop, 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 gunshots cracked through the air like firecrackers. Everybody scattered, hitting the dirt. Tires screeched, folks screamed. When the smoke cleared and the chaos died down, Ezell was laid out on the pavement, flat on his back, blood pouring out, eyes wide open like he was trying to stare the sun down. Just like that, he was gone. After Ezell got clipped, the store was left in limbo. Rudy didn't have the time nor the patience to keep a liquor store afloat. Plus, business wasn't exactly his lane when it came to that kind of setup. The spot ended up boarded up, fully stocked with inventory still inside, but in the hood, nothing stays untouched for long. Eventually, the neighborhood kids pried open one of the side entrances and started treating the place like it was their own personal 24-hour free-for-all. Day and night, they were running in and out, looting it bare, shelf by shelf. Then there was Tone, another name that came up. This cat had been out here loud talking, acting bold, claiming he got work from Rudy and never paid a dime. Tone wasn't just some random clown. He used to be one of Rudy's little soldiers back in the auto theft days. He was sharp behind the wheel, a natural-born getaway driver, but somewhere along the line, the bass rock got a hold of him and he started spiraling. Still, Rudy had always liked keeping him around, until his mouth started cashing checks his ass couldn't cover. Word got back to Rudy that Tone was out here dragging his name like he wasn't the same Big Rudy from before. That didn't sit right. Rudy put the word out quick. Anybody seen doing business with Tone would get cashed out, plain and simple. And just so it was clear, he didn't want the man dead, just smacked up a little something to make a statement. Tone ended up getting caught lacking in one of the neighborhood smoke shacks, a known spot where baseheads came through to blow the brains out on rock. The lady who ran the place kept a few jump-offs around, little thotty types, to lure in young dealers with more dope than sense. She also rented out rooms for fiends who wanted to stay posted up and smoke all day in peace. That day, some young bushrod boys slid through to serve a few knocks and ended up hanging out, letting off steam with one of the girls. They even brought a camcorder with them, ready to film their little escapade with Shorty. But mid-filming, here comes Tone, busting out the back room loud as hell, running his mouth like he owned the place. Soon as the youngsters realized who it was, their eyes lit up like slot machines, dollar signs all over their faces. One of them pulled out the strap, aimed it straight at Tone, and let him know what it was. Big Rudy put a bounty on your goofy ass. Tone folded instantly, begging, crying, stuttering. Then one of the boys had a wild idea. They ran to the backyard, brought in the lady of the house's big-ass German Shepherd, and got creative with some peanut butter and jelly. They lathered the dog's junk with the spread and gave Tone a choice. If he wanted to live, he better clean it off. Tone, desperate and humiliated, dropped to all fours and licked that dog clean while the whole thing got caught on tape. The tape made its rounds fast. Within a couple days, everyone from Bushrod to the Bottoms had seen it. Tone's name was finished. Whatever little street cred he had left, gone. His rep was now permanently dirt. Rudy, meanwhile, had made his point. Anybody who thought he was soft or that prison had changed him got reminded exactly who they was dealing with. The fear was back in full effect. Everybody who ever crossed him was either handled or humbled, and even the feds started paying extra attention. They called him Mr. Oakland now, whispers turning into surveillance. The FBI had started piecing together a full file on the big man, building a case in the shadows. With his past bids and the kind of heat he was bringing to the streets, Rudy didn't even know he had a task force breathing down his neck. But they was there, watching, waiting, because Big Rudy, he was moving too loud to stay off the radar for long. Back in '86, the feds finally got what they wanted, an official wiretap warrant on Big Rudy. From that moment on, they were on him, tailing his every move, listening to every word, and even got his sister caught up in the mix. She wasn't just playing hairdresser no more, they had her under the microscope too, watching how she moved, who she talked to, what was coming in and out of that house on 55th. One day, while they had Rudy's line tapped, they caught a real interesting convo. Rudy was chopping it up with the Colombian, and the energy on that line was tense. Apparently, there was some friction over a missing 100 racks, money that was supposed to be part of Rudy's last drop. But the cash didn't show up, and the Colombian kept blowing Rudy's phone up like a scorned lover. Thing was, Rudy wasn't pressed. In fact, he sounded more irritated than anything. He wasn't worried. He was fed up, snapping on dude like he was a little kid who broke curfew. You could hear it in his tone. He wasn't afraid of the Colombian one bit. If anything, it was the other way around. The Colombian sounded spooked, like he was dealing with a man that had more pull than the cartel back home. Rudy gave him the runaround for days, had him sitting up in a fancy 5-star hotel downtown Oakland, twiddling his thumbs and sweating bullets. Then finally, when Rudy felt like it, he pulled up to make the drop. And the feds? Oh, they were front row for the whole thing. According to the agent's reports, what they saw damn near blew their minds. Rudy stepped into the hotel lobby wearing a Cotton Gold's gym sweatsuit, looking like he just walked out of a damn workout, toting a plain old gym bag like he had nothing but towels and protein shakes in it. He told the front desk to page the Colombian. When homie came downstairs, the man was visibly shook, hands trembling, knees probably knocking. The agents couldn't believe what they were seeing. To them, the idea of a Colombian cartel connect scared stiff by a black dude from the bottom just didn't compute. But that's how much weight Rudy's name carried. Not long after that exchange, the DEA caught a blessing from the streets. An anonymous tip came in. Somebody dropped a dime about a raggedy-ass Chevy Nova sitting on 55th, just a few doors down from Rudy's sister's spot. Tipster claimed the whip was packed to the ceiling with bricks, real heavy, straight Colombian product. That was the break the feds had been waiting on. They posted up on that Nova day and night, round-the-clock surveillance, and sure enough, they caught Big Rudy on camera more than a few times, popping the trunk like it was his personal stash box. Soon as they had him directly tied to the ride, they knew the case was ironclad. When they finally moved in and secured the Nova, they popped the trunk and boom, 40 clean-wrapped kilos just sitting there like it was waiting to be gift-wrapped for the evidence locker. No fluff, no shake, pure Colombian snow. From there, it was all systems go. The feds moved fast, processing the coke as evidence and then hitting 2 major spots with warrants in hand. Rudy's sister's house and his plush mansion up in Napa Valley wine country. His sister went quietly, no drama. But Rudy, they scooped him up at Gold's Gym on Grand Avenue right near Lake Merritt, probably getting his pump in like it was any other day. The both of them got booked into Oakland City Jail. Federal holds slapped on instantly, but Rudy wasn't no amateur. He called in the heavy artillery. Hired the infamous Penny Cooper as his defense attorney, a legal beast known for working magic with high-stakes drug cases. Penny wasn't just any lawyer. She was also the niece of an Alameda County Superior Court judge, which didn't hurt none. Rudy's sister brought in Larry Ward to hold her down. The charges they hit Rudy with were heavy: trafficking, manufacturing, and a stack of weight enhancements, all based on the size of that coke haul. The Oakland Tribune wasted no time dropping a big headline on the bust: Mr. Oakland caught slipping. The paper even threw in a whole org chart with Rudy sitting at the top like a mafia boss. They had photos of his people too, including Hillbilly and a young up-and-coming high school dealer known as Lil D. Eventually, Rudy got transferred across the bay to the federal holding facility in San Francisco, where he would cool out for the next 2 years while Penny Cooper went to work. She stayed busy filing motions, pushing back court dates, trying every legal angle in the playbook to give her client some daylight. But even with all that skill and courtroom finesse, the case was airtight. Between the evidence and the government's witness testimony, it was just too much to overcome. When it was all said and done, the gavel dropped hard. 25 years in the feds. Penny filed his appeal that same day, not wasting a second. But for now, the kingpin they called Big Rudy was headed upstate, locked in for a long stretch. In true hood fashion, the appeal dragged out for damn near 6 years before anybody even bothered to hear it. When it finally came up, they snatched Rudy out the pen and brought him back down to the Frisco County Jail, 850 Bryant, where all the high-profile cats sit tight. While he was in there, a few folks slid through to check in on the big homie. One of them was the son of his old-school weightlifting partner, Big Willie. His boy, Little Willie, wasn't so little no more. He had his own little squad popping off in the town and was looking for a re-up to flood the streets. Willie was a young hustler straight out of 37th Street in North Oakland. The kid was sharp with it, knew how to move work and keep his crew tight, but the streets had already clipped his wings. He caught some lead in a shootout and ended up paralyzed, rolling around in a wheelchair ever since. Folks called him Wheelchair Will, but don't get it twisted, being in that chair didn't slow his hustle. Him and his team was known for serving up fat 30 pops, big chunky $30 rocks that had smokers lit and loyal. They could smoke a little, flip the rest, and circle right back to the block for more. From Oakland all the way out to Pittsburgh, Will had that work moving. During the visit, Will and Rudy chopped it up real smooth, talking in code like the OGs do. They settled the terms. Rudy needed that bread to keep his legal team greased, and Will needed product to get his paper up. Once Rudy gave the nod, Will slid to the pickup spot. There, sitting pretty, was 10 solid kilos of fish scale stashed inside plaster casts. Classic. Will got them bricks and didn't waste a second. He hit the kitchen and got busy. Took him almost a full 24 to whip them, bag them, and prep them for the turf. He hit every batch with his special twist, what he called the gypsy twist. All $30 rocks, straight fire. He even saved up the crumbs, tossed them in the freezer for his Tuesday night meltdowns. Every Tuesday, the fiends got a little sample for free, and by sundown, 37th Street was looking like a carnival. Easy 10 bands a day in traffic. While Rudy was sitting tight preying on that appeal, the feds put his Napa Valley mansion up on the auction block. That joint went for a light $600,000. The city clowned him too, held a full-blown press conference like it was the goddamn Super Bowl. Mayor Jerry Brown was front and center, standing next to an oversized check like he won the lotto. Media showed up heavy. Headlines read, "Local drug kingpin's mansion sold to the highest bidder." They said the money was going to charity, but who knows what pockets it really hit. By then, the crib was trashed. Snakes and possums had been living better than folks since Rudy got locked up. Finally, in 2000, Rudy caught a break. His sentence got cut, and he was sent to a federal halfway house off MacArthur Boulevard. But he was on lifetime parole, so he couldn't so much as sneeze wrong. After 6 months in that halfway trap, he slid back to North Oakland, the same turf he used to run. He posted up behind a clean little auto detail spot on 59th and Market, playing the background as a silent partner. Things had changed, though. With Big Bro Uncle Sam breathing down his neck for life, Rudy had to play it smart. He started flipping used cars, buying them at auctions, fixing them up, and pushing them off the lot. His brother held down the day-to-day, and Rudy stamped the biz with the name Rudy's Beauties, even had paper plates with the name printed up on every whip. But Rudy was still Rudy. He couldn't just stay clean forever. The weed game was booming, so he dipped a toe in. His connect was Fat Twin, a heavyweight plug who moved hundreds of pounds out of a burger joint on Piedmont Avenue. Rudy put money up, played the investor role, and stayed out the dirt. He got his cut on the back end while Twin handled the heavy lifting. Rudy Jr., his namesake, got involved too, running for Pops. But the youngin' got greedy and started doing his own deals on the side. One of those side hustles got him smoked. A multi-pound weed deal went left out in East Oakland on 71st Avenue, and the boy was found slumped in the front seat of one of his Pop's cars, a clean Lexus LS 400. Rudy was crushed. Almost a year to the day after they buried Junior, the streets came for Big Rudy too. He was sitting in a car outside Lois the Pie Queen, a soul food spot owned by the gospel-famous Hawkins family. Word on the curb was it had something to do with a fine-ass waitress he was messing with. Either way, the shooter didn't miss. Also in the whip was Ricky Henderson's crackhead brother. He caught shots too, but somehow lived. They held Rudy's funeral at Faith Tabernacle on 73rd and International. It was low-key, but some known names pulled up. Berkeley Pierre the Pimp and his brother Rodney came through to pay respects. Everybody came in peace, paid homage to the fallen king, then faded into the wind.
these mean streets, mean streets.
Calls Antioch, California home. He made it out. The Momo family's story is stamped in Oakland's history books, and Mick Mo, he wasn't just another kingpin. He was the kingpin, one of the flyest to ever do it.
If you ever lived in Oakland in the 70s, 80s, and decided to return here, perhaps you wouldn't even recognize the city that once nurtured a part of your life. What happened?
From above, you can see the size of the problem, but for those on the ground, it may be a different story.
In Oakland, dozens of people have to find a new place to stay tonight. Their homeless camp was torn down. What's left is a ton of trash.
This was unjust, unfair, inhumane.
I don't like being homeless. I have nobody. Nobody to help me. Not even my own mom, my baby daddy, nobody. It's hard.
Once a strategic port center, home to major businesses, opportunities, and the belief in a prosperous American dream, Oakland is now grappling with one of the most severe homelessness crises in the United States. More than 5,000 homeless people are struggling daily in Oakland, in makeshift camps that have sprung up like sores on the highway, in front of school gates, and even right next to city halls. They exist like soulless shadows, wandering in the nightmare of an American dream that is slowly rotting away. In today's video, let's follow us into the heart of the crisis in Oakland, where the bright lights of skyscrapers are not enough to dispel the dark corners and the extreme despair of those who have nowhere to return. As usual, this is not a pessimistic warning, but a perspective reflecting multiple sources to help the community understand better and prepare proactively. Are you ready to explore the growing dark side of a city once dubbed the heart of the San Francisco Bay Area? Let's start right now. There was a time when Oakland was a symbol of opportunity, a bustling port city where trains and containers from all over America converge, bringing goods and dreams. People come here with a suitcase, a bit of savings, and a lot of hope. The belief that as long as you work hard, anyone can build a decent life. A small house, a decent job, a future for their children. That was the American dream, and Oakland used to be where that dream began. But today, if you return to the familiar streets that once nurtured the American dream of many generations, you will find that what remains is not the bustling skyscrapers or the lively, busy streets, but the desperate sounds emanating from the makeshift tents hastily set up along the sidewalks. The once bustling sidewalks are now crowded with the homeless, vacant stares, weary figures drifting aimlessly like the living dead across pavements and inside old battered cars that someone now calls home. The American dream in Oakland is no more, or perhaps it never even had the chance to begin before it was taken away. Making way for nightmares ready to sweep away your roof over your head, a lifetime of savings, or everything precious you have.
We've seen it on the streets of San Francisco. Now, Oakland is becoming overwhelmed with a very visible homeless problem.
The homelessness crisis in this city can no longer be hidden. More than 5,000 people are living homeless in Oakland, a number that has nearly doubled in just 5 years. Perhaps for other major cities like Los Angeles or New York City, this number is just a small fraction. But these figures are not just soulless numbers counted on statistical tables. They are difficult lives, real people, struggling every day on the streets to continue seeing the dawn for another day. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because thousands of other people not counted in the statistics are also in a high-risk situation. They live by couch surfing, temporarily residing in cars, or crammed into shared rental rooms that lack light and air. That's why just one unexpected medical bill, one job loss, or one separation can blur the line between having a home and losing everything. On every street corner, you can easily encounter homeless people from any social class. A veteran in a worn-out military uniform, a single mother, or an elderly person living on social security benefits. All those people once had a normal life. They used to pay taxes, have families, strive, and dream. But then, life gradually declined after unforeseen events, and everything slipped out of their hands easily. The scariest thing about Oakland is that this city didn't fall into crisis because of a storm, not because of war, and certainly not because of a global pandemic. Instead, Oakland is slowly collapsing in silence, so quietly that even those who once lived here didn't realize until it was too late. It started when housing prices skyrocketed to the point where even a full-time worker could no longer afford to rent a small room. When the cost of living rises day by day, but wages remain stagnant as if the entire system is frozen. When welfare programs, which were the last lifeline for the poor, the elderly, and the disabled, are cut back, reduced, and gradually disappear. All of it gradually accumulates, forming a tsunami that easily sinks people and their entire lives to the bottom of the abyss. We often think of homelessness as their problem. But when you see a mother pushing a stroller through a sidewalk full of trash, looking for a shady spot for her child to nap, or an elderly person picking up leftover breadcrumbs to eat as a snack, you will understand. This is a problem for all of us. Because if a society cannot protect its weakest members, then what is it ultimately existing for? The American dream doesn't disappear overnight. It shatters slowly, piece by piece. Just like how a person who once had a home, a job, and hope becomes a name no one remembers. A face people avoid. A part of the problem that no one wants to acknowledge. How many more people have to sleep on the sidewalk? How many more dreams have to rot in the darkness before we truly recognize the severity of this crisis? Right in the heart of a city praised as a pioneer of progress, social justice, and cultural diversity, there exist no-go zones that even the police force must be wary of. Because there, the law has lost its voice and everything is completely out of control. The streets are no longer marked by administrative boundaries, but by the limits of fear and despair. The red zones in the heart of Oakland, where the light of hope is no longer strong enough to penetrate the tattered tarps, the heaps of garbage, and the hardened eyes from too long living in the dark. East 12th Street, a long stretch of road along the freeway, looks from afar like a rest stop for the lost. But up close, you can see that it's an entire community. Abandoned. Dozens of tents are crammed onto the sidewalks next to high-voltage power poles with roofs made from anything that can be found. Rusty metal sheets, plastic tarps, wooden pallets, even old traffic signs. No clean water, no electricity, no hope. In that place, people don't live. They just try to survive day by day. Because those makeshift houses cannot last long. The city authorities are always looking for ways to dismantle the neighborhood of the homeless people here.
Crashing of wood and metal that once held up an encampment on East 12th Street in Oakland is a familiar sound for residents like Victoria.
The sounds of splintering wood and the clanging of metal colliding from the dismantled encampments have become a familiar tune for the residents living in this city. The city authorities call these campaigns cleanups, urban space cleansing to ensure community safety. But which community? Because clearly, they do not consider the people living here as part of that community. Residents in the area have always lived with a sense of unease. Many people shared that they felt both pity and fear. The shabby camps, hastily put together, the smell of garbage, and the sight of wandering people seemed to have their vitality drained, causing many families to change their commuting routes or even transfer their children to avoid passing by. But deep down, they also understand. The people living at the East 12th camp did not choose to live such a life. They are victims of a system with too many gaps that let them fall without reaching out a hand to catch them. Not only East 12th Street, but Wood Street is also considered a chaotic hotspot in Oakland. This area has become an open wound on the face of the city. More than 300 people used to live under the bridges spanning the highway. Day after day, they cooked with old gas stoves, collected rainwater in plastic containers to bathe, and gathered firewood to keep warm under the shadow of the wheels rolling over their heads. And these very things have also caused terrifying accidents. According to statistics, there have been over 100 fires in this red zone. There was even a fire so large that it closed MacArthur, a major freeway interchange in Oakland. The authorities have also made efforts to clear the camps here to beautify the urban landscape and ensure the safety of the people living in the area. But after each eviction, people return. Not because they like that place, but because they have nowhere else to go. The longer you stay in these lawless areas, the more you feel a chill running down your spine. Not only because of its danger, but also because everything here is happening as if it has never been considered in need of repair. Every sign of decay, from the tattered tents, the piled up trash, to the eyes that have lost hope, is clearly present, yet ignored as if they were a given, as if this city has silently accepted. There will always be such areas, dark patches that belong to no one, and therefore no one is responsible for improving them. East 12th Street or Mosswood Street are just two of the many typical homeless hotspots in Oakland. There are many other no-go zones existing right in the heart of Oakland without any effort to address them from anyone. This is a silent accusation that sometimes what is called urban civilization is merely a fresh coat of paint over a rusting machine. And if the only way for the city to look clean and beautiful is to get rid of the vulnerable people without changing the reasons for their suffering, then what does that clean beauty even mean? Oakland is no longer the easy place to live it once was. Now, each day that passes for the people here is a struggle for survival. The more skyscrapers rise, the more bustling entertainment districts appear in the city centre. The more makeshift tents spring up on sidewalks, under bridges, and along roadsides, constructed from plastic tarps, rotting wooden crates, and faded pieces of cloth. This is not a dystopian fantasy. This is the daily reality in Oakland, a place where the concept of development is gradually being distorted. No longer is it about inclusion, but rather a silent process of pushing out those who can't keep up. Surely you remember, in the 70s, living in Oakland wasn't too difficult. A small apartment would only cost you around $145 a month. Just a stable job was enough to have a roof over your head, enough to raise children in a decent community. But those days are long gone. The rent for apartments in Oakland has now exceeded $2,568 per month for a one-bedroom unit. In central areas like downtown Oakland, rent can reach up to $3,007 per month, nearly the entire income of a full-time worker earning minimum wage. For those who rely on social security benefits, the dream of having a home is not just difficult, it is completely out of reach. While the cost of living has skyrocketed by more than 58% compared to the national average, from food, fuel to utilities, wages have remained almost stagnant. The amount of money provided by social welfare has been gradually cut back over each term. Not only that, even housing subsidies and healthcare benefits are no longer the solid safety nets that keep us from falling into the abyss. The poor, the working class, those who were once the core of the Oakland community, are being pushed to the margins, literally. They have to leave the downtown area, making way for urban redevelopment projects, luxury apartment buildings, and cafes serving $7 lattes. This process, known as gentrification, is transforming Oakland from a community city into a commodity valued by investors. And the heartbreaking paradox is, the very people who work to build the new buildings, install the electrical wiring, and clean the city's trash are the first to be pushed away from it. They were hired to build development, only to be pushed out of the new cityscape when land values rose beyond their ability to live there. Perhaps the most heartbreaking thing is not that they lost their homes, but rather the realization that development was never designed to include them. They were not forgotten. They were pushed out of the overall picture of a thriving, developed Oakland from the very beginning. Is it worth it? When the buildings are taller, the lights are more dazzling. But the price to pay is the disintegration of communities, people surviving day by day in tents. Can a city truly be called developed if it is losing its very soul day by day? The pre-retirement age adults of 2025 were once the backbone that built Oakland into what it is today. They paid taxes using their hands to wrap up a lifetime of sacrifice, labor, and contribution. They are the ones who laid the first bricks for the factories in Oakland, once drove buses, once taught in public schools, once tended the gardens and city streets. They are veterans, construction workers, retired teachers. Those who believed that if they worked hard all their lives, in the end, they would have a place to return to. But today, if you step out of downtown Oakland, it won't be hard to spot an elderly man huddled under a bridge or an elderly woman quietly standing by a gas station, counting coins to buy an expired loaf of bread. They are the ones from the generation that built the foundation of the American dream, and they are also the first ones to be turned away by that very dream. In Oakland, the number of homeless people over 60 is rapidly increasing. They no longer have the strength to work and keep up with the rising cost of living. The Social Security benefits of about $1,700 a month can no longer cover the costs of rent, medicine, food, and utilities. When everything becomes expensive, except for assistance, seniors become small boats forgotten in the market storm. Many people once had homes, once had stability, but just one prolonged illness, one medical bill not covered by insurance, or even just a few $100s increase in rent can completely wipe them out. And once they fall into the abyss, they will have no chance to start over. No one hires an elderly person without a fixed address. No shelter has enough space for an elderly woman who needs heart medication and an electric blanket at night. And no system is flexible enough to handle the lives that are rotting away in silence. There are elderly men and women who choose to leave their homes so as not to become a burden to their children and grandchildren. They sit in old cars, bathe with warm water bottles left in the sun, eat free meals distributed to them, and every evening pray that the weather tomorrow won't be too harsh. They no longer ask for much, no longer dreaming far away. They only need a roof to shield them from the sun and rain, a small bed, a warm cup of tea, and someone to check on them. But this society, with its cold pace of development and misplaced priorities, has left them behind, cruelly and silently. Perhaps what angers us the most is not that they are poor, but that they are forgotten. Not appearing in election campaigns, not mentioned in the evening news, without a representative voice. They become shadows, existing but invisible. Lonely amidst the bustling streets, overshadowed by shiny cars, drowned out by the loud music from the roadside bars. So, if even those who built this city can easily be swept away by the tsunami of homelessness, is there anyone among us who can be assured that they won't be the next? There is one thing that is rarely mentioned in reports about the homelessness crisis in Oakland: the children. Not because they are absent, but because they are present too quietly. Just wide open eyes in the dark, silently witnessing a childhood stolen day by day. Homeless children in Oakland grow up in conditions that no child should have to endure. Many of them do not have birth certificates, do not go to school, and do not have health insurance. The luckier ones go to class in donated, worn-out uniforms, oversized shoes, and backpacks filled with more anxiety than books. While other children dream of summer vacations, swimming pools, and toast with butter in the morning, homeless children dream of a place where they can sleep without hearing arguments, and a day without having to move their belongings because the shelter has been cleared. And what is even more frightening is that those children are growing up, forming their personalities in an environment where injustice and coldness are the norm. They are not nurtured with trust in society, but with survival skills in indifference. No one helps them have the opportunity to live and nurture their dreams like other normal children. They only learn that to survive and exist in an environment no different from wartime. The government is not completely silent. There have been efforts to some extent to mitigate the severe impact of the homelessness crisis on children. Some overnight shelter programs have been opened specifically for families with young children. Some schools have experimented with providing free breakfast, donated uniforms, and support for students without a legal residence address. However, all those efforts have not yet achieved viable results. The system is still overloaded, shelters are insufficient, support programs are limited by temporary budgets or interrupted by cumbersome bureaucratic procedures. Many families with young children are still denied acceptance because they do not meet the criteria. And while the city debates long-term plans, the children continue to grow up in a reality that is short-lived, precarious, and full of scars. When the authorities are still struggling with targets, when the budget is still adjusted according to priorities detached from reality, the children continue to sleep in cars, go to school with empty stomachs, and learn to hide the truth about what they call home. Will those homeless children become anyone? When a child does not know the love of society, can they become a citizen who loves society in the future? And if today we turn a blind eye to the innocent eyes of children looking up from under the bridge, then tomorrow, who will save us? When those children grow up without trust in anyone. Oakland, once seen as a lifeline for those unable to stay in San Francisco or San Jose, is now also gradually sinking. Rental prices continue to rise, while the rate of crime is surging around the homeless encampments. Public schools are short on teachers, and the budget has been cut. The community healthcare system is overwhelmed. Small businesses are closing one after another. Residents with means are leaving. The remaining people live in a state of patience and vague despair, not knowing when it will be their turn to be pushed out. Homelessness is no longer an isolated issue. It is creating a domino effect, breaking down community structures, paralyzing the service system, eroding trust in the government, and causing the next generations to grow up with the feeling that no one is truly at the helm of this city anymore. Authorities are still fumbling between temporary solutions, setting up temporary shelters, distributing hotel vouchers, organizing cleanups under public pressure. But no one talks about a long-term strategy. There is no sustainable vision for affordable housing, no community recovery plan. Meetings are held, press releases are issued, but the reality on the streets continues to deteriorate. They talk a lot about improving the city's image, but forget that a city is not measured by the glitter of skyscrapers, but by the living standards and happiness index of its smallest inhabitants. Oakland is not just losing homes, it is losing its identity, community, and that once very real feeling that this city is a place where people can start their lives anew. If the very place that was once the final refuge is now falling apart, where will those who still believe in an America that cares for its most vulnerable find their home? Oakland, a city that was once the starting point for new lives, where the American dream was rooted in every brick and drop of sweat, now harbors terrifying secrets. The cramped tents sprout up beside the magnificent skyscrapers. Children grow up without ever having a complete childhood. The elderly who once built the city now huddle in the cold night at the street corner, in a city that is gradually losing itself. We can continue to turn away, keep pretending not to see, but that won't make the problem disappear. Because the homelessness crisis is not their story. It is a warning for all of us. If we do not take action to change from the smallest steps, then very likely what is happening in Oakland today is the future image of other places and the entire United States. What do you think about the horrifying secrets happening in Oakland? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel and stay updated with our latest videos. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. All the content in this video is constructed from publicly available documents, statistical reports, and reputable media features, with the aim of analyzing, reflecting, and provoking multifaceted thoughts on important social issues. The video is not intended to criticize any individual, organization, or government. We respect all viewpoints and wish to contribute to opening constructive, honest, and positive discussions.
Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised, and all suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
I know about that, so
You do?
Yeah. It's not really my car. This is my friend's car. I was literally about to go drop the back off.
Okay. With her permission, right?
Yes, with her
Is it a guy or a girl?
It's a guy. It's a trans.
Okay.
You just happen to see the plate, run the plate, or what?
I don't use fog.
Yeah, I know, but you just ran the plate just randomly?
Well, I stopped him first.
Yeah, for what?
No, brake light was out on the right.
There you go.
Back talked to her on Thursday night, and she gave him, or it gave him permission to take the car, gave him the car keys and everything. And everything that happened with this vehicle since the first time you took it all the way down to the next time that you spoke to the gay person. Let me open the door.
On February 22, 2025 in Berkeley, a California highway patrolman patrolling on Interstate 80 pulled over a car with a burnt-out brake light. After running the license plate, the car came back stolen out of Oakland 4 days prior.
All right, just pull over to the right, pull over to the right. All right, just go straight, straight. To your left. Alright, just take your right here, when safe. Take a right, when safe. Alright, just park the car, roll down your windows, please. How you doing? So the reason I stopped you was because your brake light for the right side, your tail light's up. So when you every time you brake, you.
I know about that, so I'm sorry.
You do?
Yeah. It's not really my car. This is my friend's car. I was literally about to go drop the back off.
Okay, it's your friend's car. All right, you have a driver license proving. Oh, you even tell your friend just driver license for now.
I only got my ID. I'm sorry. I just got off of work right now.
You don't have a driver license, man?
No. She was just letting me use it so I could get to work, sir.
You're wearing the seatbelt?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why are you wearing it like that?
I'm sorry, but I was just being...
If I run this car, it's not gonna come back stolen, right?
No.
No?
I mean, you could run it. I just had it.
I'm just saying because usually when it's a stolen car, they usually have the seatbelts like that.
No.
So the airbags can still deploy and they can just get out the car.
I did this so I couldn't hear the noise. Like, literally the noise go off, so I was just tired of hearing that. I promise.
All right, then. And who's your friend's name? Gabriella? Where does she live?
In Oakland.
Oakland? And it's your car, right?
Yeah.
All right, then. You stay in the vehicle, then I'm going to check everything out, okay? It's going to be I-80 eastbound, taking the university off. Code 4.
Eastbound 80 taking the university off. That's 10 would be out.
Hey man, just get out the vehicle. Come out. Alright, face that way, man. Face that way. Face that way. Put your hands behind your back.
Can you keep telling me, why would you do that?
You said this car wasn't stolen, man.
I just asked her, did she...
You can get her to come to the scene. We can release you there, okay? Yeah, right now.
To this seat?
Huh?
To right here?
Yeah. It's going to be university and second. She has to show proof that it's her vehicle, okay?
Yeah. Is it good for me? It's like...
Golden Gate 96A. I got one detained. Vehicle cleared. Alright. Golden Gate 96A. It's going to be University and 2nd Street.
Oh, sir, can you do it for the first one that say gas? The first one, yes. You just put it in the speaker?
Yeah, just always come with her paperwork and everything. She's not responding?
I was just literally on the phone.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Did I answer it?
Say it one more time. I literally was just on the phone. I swear.
Golden Gate 96. There was only one occupant. He's detained. Code 4.
This shit is crazy.
Let's go that way. Take a left from here. Alright, just go standing right here in front of my vehicle. Right. And I had a feeling happened too, man. I was like, it seemed better not come back stolen.
That's not why the seatbelt is like that, dude.
What's that?
I said that's not why the seatbelt is like that.
No?
Honestly, I think because it makes an annoying sound.
Okay. Let's go sit over here. Do you have anything in your pockets?
No.
Anything that will stab me or anything? You have a driver license? Oh, you already gave me your identification card on. Where are you coming out from? Work, right? You don't have any weapons on you? Anything in the vehicle that's a gun? Alright. Let's see what we can do, man. This doesn't look good, okay?
I know, sir. Hopefully she can come and just like
you sit down properly. Yeah, right now, move it.
Oh, it's cold as heck.
You put the seatbelt on you, man.
Can I get my jacket off the tree?
Yeah, right now, after we get everything situated, okay? Can you give me your handcuff key real quick?
Yeah.
Mike got stuck in here. I don't know how the fuck it got stuck in there. I can't take it out, so I haven't. Alright, let's use your handcuffs. I could just cut them up for you so they won't squeeze on your hands. Alright. See what the return said. Your friend Gabriella gave it to you?
Yes.
How long ago did she give it to you?
Yesterday
too? Okay. Stay in the vehicle, okay? So I stop him, give me an identification card, ran the plates and everything, and it says her friend Gabriella's car. This is before I ran the plates. And I guess the victim is Gabriella Tway.
Okay.
So he said he got the car like a day or two ago. From her, yeah. He has a phone number. He was calling her, but I knew it was off because the seat belts. Yeah. I was all like, I was like, why are you sitting like that, man? So, what's the last four of the VIN? Okay. I guess we just search the car for any weapons at this point. gonna read you something real quick. So I'm gonna read you something real quick, okay? So why isn't Gabriella answering?
She's probably mad at me. But I know if you call her, she'll freaking come because she do want her cars. I promise you, she'll come and she'll release me too.
Is she like your girlfriend or something?
We talk, we have like a relationship a little bit.
So she reported it when knowing that you had the vehicle?
Yeah, probably because we got in an argument.
Okay, so let me just read you something, okay?
We got in an argument.
You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Anything you say or may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to an attorney, right of the presence of an attorney before and during questioning. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you free of charge before your questioning if you want. Do you understand? Okay, with that being said, do you want to talk to me?
Yes, sir.
Figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, she let me use the car like a couple days ago so I could go to work.
A couple days ago?
Like yesterday or Saturday. What's today? Friday. I mean, today's Saturday, so I'm going to say Thursday. I'm going to say I had it since Thursday. But I already went to the house and stuff. I was already going back and forth. I went to the house even today.
Okay.
But I grabbed the car again. Yeah.
To be frank, man, if she doesn't come or do anything, we have to arrest you, man. Because at this point, it's like your word against...
Can you try calling her one more time, please? Just grab my phone.
Is your phone dead?
No, let me see. Get the bottom one, the second one. And just slide up. That's all.
What, phone?
Yeah. And then get...
She's not picking up, man. My sergeant's already en route, so at that point, man, it's going to be his word against yours if he doesn't come. And you won't be getting out until Monday. And that's the earliest.
Gabby, can you come over here and get your car? They said if you come get the car, you can come release me.
Where?
I'm in University. Can you tell her where we at, sir?
University second.
They said that I don't have to go to jail if you come get the car. And just tell them that you did let me. And I told them that I did keep the car for 2 days and stuff already. So, but they said you can still come get the car and release me.
Where?
Can you tell her where to come get me at, sir?
University and second in Berkeley.
What is that? What is that?
Berkeley?
Yeah, Berkeley, University and second.
Okay, I'm in San Francisco right now. I catch your Uber. I'll be there.
Okay, sounds good.
What is you doing in San Francisco? What are you doing in?
Yeah, she hanged up. I mean, like I said, it's your word against the facts that it's reported stolen, okay? You know? So like you were saying, you got it on Thursday with her permission, right?
Yes.
Is it a guy or a girl?
It's a guy. It's a trans.
Okay. Okay, on Thursday. What happened after Thursday?
Nothing. I had went to the car. I had to stand out a little longer than I was supposed to, and we got in a little argument. And then I just kind of kept the car because I had work, so I was like, I'm gonna just go to work. And
okay, did this argument?
I just got mad just because we had exchanged.
Just a verbal, just
verbal.
Got into an argument, and then you just got in the car.
Yep, and I just went about my day and went to work. That's how I was able to have the keys. Like, she gave me permission. She put the keys in my hand and everything. She'll tell you that and all this stuff.
Okay.
That's why I was even. Like I didn't take them out.
And when was the last time you saw her?
Friday.
Friday?
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
What time?
I don't know. Maybe it was Thursday then. So maybe Thursday night, like around 11 or something, 12 at midnight. So Friday midnight. But it was late. Like 11 or something.
And you got with her and you talked to her, and then she gave you the keys or what?
She gave me the keys and she was like, you can go handle what you need to go do. And I went and did that.
This was Thursday night?
Yes, sir. And then, I stayed out longer than I was supposed to, so she was mad.
Yeah? Okay,
24 minutes ago.
Yeah. This is what happened.
You just happen to see the plate and run the plate or what?
I don't use fog.
Yeah, I know, but you just ran the plate just randomly?
Well, I stopped them first.
Yeah, for what?
No, brake light was out on the right.
There you go.
This was my 13th or 14th tag today, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, your motivation talk got me, so.
See?
I was going after it.
You get a stolen car, you get a penalty too.
Yeah, so I already ran on the Miranda rights and everything. He's saying that before I ran the play, he said that because I ran up to the car, the way that the car's set up is the seatbelts are already. He's on top of the seatbelts. And I was like, man, if I run this car and it comes back stolen, he's like, no, it's not gonna come back stolen. I was like, all right. So I go run it real quick and then come back and it comes back stolen. And he says before I came back, he said that Gabe that was the owner of the vehicle, and he let her. She was a trans person. Let him borrow the car recently on Thursday, and that's why he has the vehicle now. And then the victim information says Gabe.
Does it have a suspect on the return or anything? Sometimes they'll list a suspect. Anybody go to the car yet?
Yeah, I already had him.
I got your prop on 15. My first roller by myself, it was a Nevada plate. I didn't know how to read it. I thought the registration was expired. Stickers from different Nevada. I run into the phone. Over here, 80 actually. 80 West on Twilight University.
That's crazy.
It's the same kind of thing. Never know what you're going to trouble with.
Yeah.
So you don't have to look for it. In my work bag. Hello? Is this Gabe? Okay, hello. This is Officer Sakara at the CHP of Oakland. I'm just calling you because contact information was on the vehicle listed as the victim. We did find the vehicle with the suspect inside. I think I talked to you on his phone for a bit. Like I said, University in second. If you could come over here, call like an ETA if I can know. Okay. Do you know who the person was driving the vehicle as was? Okay, so you want to press charges against this guy? Okay, sounds good. We'll be here on University in second, so hopefully the sooner the better. Yeah. Yes. Okay. And once again, you didn't give him permission, correct? Yo, you gave him permission. No, did you give him permission to drive and take your vehicle away? No, permission. Like you let him drive the car. No. Okay. I'll explain everything once you get here. Okay. Okay. Thank you. What's going on? So she's coming from, or it's coming from San Francisco. It's gonna get an Uber. So I already told her where we at.
And do they know? I was ready to go. Do they know him at all?
Yeah, so I guess they know each other.
Okay.
But I think it's very hard to understand that person over the phone.
Okay.
But she said that they got into like a little argument. He took the car, she filed it, but then they got together, and then he gave him like permission. This was Thursday, so he said he took the car on Tuesday around there. It was like about a week. He went back, talked to her on Thursday night, and then she gave him, or it gave him permission to take the car, gave him the car keys and everything, and that's where he's at right now. Because he said that she or it allowed it to drive it around to do his errands and stuff.
So why is it, when did they report stolen?
I'm gonna check right now. This is a report on 0218. It's like
2 days ago, which is
4 days ago.
4 days ago.
So that was
Tuesday, right? Ish.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, it's your call.
Still hooked, right? I'll just wait for that person to come here.
And how come it doesn't have a suspect?
And usually they have a suspect. I had one like this where it was like they're domestic. They had a little. Well, he used to work for DoorDash, and he took the car to do the thing and never came back. She put him down as the vehicle stolen and with the suspect person. But this one has no suspect, even though they know each other.
But I mean, honestly, if they both their stories match and they both say it's not stolen, I mean, I don't think it was the case. I mean, you could still, I think you still could take it as a recovery. I would still write like
recovery
incident report.
Okay.
216, just because you put a gun at him or anything.
No, I was ready. I unbuckled both sides, and then I was like, hey, whoever. So I gave him commands. If he was aggressive, I was gonna take out the lethal.
Yeah.
And
so I mean, you could honestly, it's probably it's up to you.
So
it doesn't sound like there's really much. I mean, you could write a little incident report if you think down the road something might come of it.
Yeah, it's better that way.
You know, just it doesn't have to be super. I stopped this car, the door stolen.
Okay.
This guy out said he knew the RO. I called the RO. RO said they knew him.
Okay.
Misunderstanding, and then, but you still can get the Frank number. You're still gonna do a recovery, so probably still kind of a roller.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Still kind of a roller, even though we don't arrest him.
I mean, I'll look it up.
Okay. I'll probably wait for that person to come here.
Oh, for sure.
It's
Verify
better
the statement, face-to-face ID, and make sure
probably
they
have
are
them separate. Like I said, it's a transgender. That's what you told me, and so it's very difficult to pick up on the phone, especially with all the static and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll probably wait for them to come.
Yeah, perfect. You good? You good here? You got this? You want me to hang out? I'll hang out.
So I was still. I mean, you could leave. I was just asking him just general questions of how he got the car. He told me a brief summary before he came.
Yeah.
He was being compliant all the way forward.
I mean, it sounds like they didn't talk, and they kind of have the same story.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard. Well, I mean, you have someone to go home while pick them also. She's gonna be saying things.
Okay. So their stories match. Just still do the Frank, recover this, release it to the RO.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, you still do a 180, and they sign the 180 if you're release the car.
Oh, yeah. Fill this portion out. And
yeah, they sign.
Right here?
Signature of person taking.
Oh, right here. So we fill out the.
Yeah. And then I would still do the recovery narrative on the back.
Okay.
Still fill that out. But if they come and they say no, I told me he could borrow the car that night. I've been calling him day after day after day, and he won't return the car.
Yeah.
Right? Who borrows? You ever loaned you a car? I guess it's happened. You haven't.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah. So if they're like, no, I'm trying to call him, trying to get the car back, and he won't answer my calls, and I bring it back, then he's like,
okay.
Go.
Okay. So. And then after that, we just take him to birthday, right? I think it's fine.
Sure.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. fast. What chopper is that?
I can't tell.
That's not ours.
Usually ours isn't that low.
It's probably like a city one.
Probably, yeah, maybe it's.
Maybe. Can't read that little letter. It might be a news.
No, they're coming from San Francisco.
Yeah, an Uber. Yeah. No, I'm probably just gonna finish up getting a statement, whatever I can.
Hang out.
Alright, sounds good. Alright, man. So, again, do you read the waiver rights? Or do you want me to read the thing again? What was that?
So you read them already?
So you want to waive them?
I mean,
just the same rights, because every time I make contact with you, I have to basically read them again. Like, you have the right to remain silent.
Okay.
If you need if anything you say may be used against you in court, and if you need an attorney present for your questioning, and then you can have an attorney present with no cost to you. And then if you understand, if you can't afford it, then we'll still provide it.
so she's not coming?
Yeah, she is. You just have to wait. It's gonna be a little while. Just Uber and all that. So I talked to my sergeant. He said, if the stories match up, right? I'm being transparent with you, okay? I want to tell you this. If the stories match up, most likely we won't be taking you, okay? At this point, I'm gonna have to get your full statement, everything that's happened with this vehicle since the first time you took it, all the way down to the next time that you spoke to the gay person, and what happened after that and all that. Because we gotta make it chronological, right? We gotta make it make sense, right? Because
okay, so basically, I want to say Thursday. That was the night. Just let him use the car so I can go to work and go handle some business that I have to go do.
That was Thursday night?
Pretty sure. I don't know if it was Thursday for sure. I don't even know. I want to say Thursday.
When was the first time you got the car, though?
I want to say Thursday.
That was the first time. You didn't get it Tuesday?
It could have been Tuesday.
No.
I had work.
Where do you work at? I know you said that. What do you do at?
I'm a...
Okay.
So I don't know. I can't say the particular day, but I don't think it was...
Okay. So...
I know it was for surely this weekday, sometime this weekday, from Wednesday to Thursday at the least. Wednesday from Thursday, and yes, I got it from today. And we got an altercation, bring the car back, and we was arguing, so I didn't. I just went to work instead.
Okay, when did you guys argue?
Probably the next day, so I'm gonna say Thursday, Friday, we argued. She wasn't tripping or nothing. That's why I was like surprised that she did call the cops, but she did get mad and stuff, and she warned me. So that's why I was on my way to go give her the car. She was like, if you don't, then I will be going to get it.
Okay.
I didn't know that she actually did.
So you met up with her around Thursday, right? And then that's when you started arguing with her on Thursday, Friday?
I'm say, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we argued from Thursday to Friday, yeah. And the whole time she was just telling me to bring the car back, you know. And I was like, I'm going to bring it back. I just wanted to finish handling what I was doing.
Okay, when was the last time you saw her in person?
Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday.
And she gave you she gave you the keys?
She gave me the keys. She said, I was at her house and she said I could use the car. She gave me the keys.
And when did you get the keys?
That was so then Wednesday.
So you got the keys on Wednesday and Thursday. When you said you were arguing on Thursday, Friday, that was over the phone?
Yes, it was over. It wasn't in person.
Okay, and when was the last time you saw her in person?
Wednesday or Thursday.
So when you got the keys?
When I got the keys was the last time I saw her.
Okay, and before this stop, when was the last time you contacted her? Today?
That I was on my way.
So did you talk to her today at what time? Right now it's 7, or it's 5:45.
I texted her like way earlier, probably like around 12 or something.
Today, 12 p.m.? Okay. And then what?
I was gonna come on my way. I said I was gonna be on my way today. And then I called her again, and she was like, I don't want to hear you no more because you're a liar, blah, blah, blah. I'm not lying.
So today at 12 p.m. you called her saying that you were going to take the vehicle back. Today?
Today.
Did you give her like a time frame or anything?
I didn't. I just said I was going to be there. Well, I did, honestly. I said 10 minutes, but I took way longer than 10 minutes.
Okay. And where does she live? Okay. So I'm going to read what you gave me. You know, you guys met up on Wednesday, Thursday. You're not too iffy on which one it is. You argued Thursday and Friday over the phone. You got the keys during that first meetup where you met her in person, right? Mm-hmm. And then at that point, you had the keys, and she was telling you to bring the car back?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, you called her today saying that you were going to bring the car back today at 12 p.m. Yes. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, that should be it.
Should be it?
Yeah, but it wasn't like we met. I already knew who she was for a long time.
Yeah, but I'm saying like, you met in person. Okay.
I could admit that I abused in my time with the car. But she for surely was like, she knew I was going to bring it back because I freaking work. I see her all the time. I'll be spending the night at her house all the time. Dinner, freaking. I don't live there, but I've been like staying there for a little bit sometimes.
Okay.
She be helping me out and stuff like that, letting me sleep there because I work right down the street, so like we can spend the night.
And where were you going right now?
Right now, I was really finna go get some food, honestly.
Okay.
I was about to go stop in Berkeley on try to find something. Okay. And I was even gonna grab her something so she can just not be on me too much. Obviously, she's still good.
And you just got off of work right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright then. So there's nothing else you want to add, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, thank you. I'll be right back, okay?
Try to look up that roller thing.
Which one?
See if you still get rollers guy. I thought before I've heard that if there's somebody in the driver's box. No.
It counts? I thought it was like only if you arrested them.
That's normal.
That's like the straightforward. I guess he's a. That's crazy.
I never been in the car before, so.
I think we're gonna be arrested together.
Think so?
I think so.
Did you ask him if she ever called national?
So they said that they met up like Tuesday. The story says Tuesday or Wednesday that they met up, and that's when she gave her the keys to let her use it. And then after that, they were talking over the phone Thursday, Friday, basically just talking about the car and how when she was expecting it back. That's the same thing as you were saying.
Right.
Like kind of similar to like, hey, when are you gonna bring my car back? Like I want it now.
Okay.
So I think just with that little sentence, like they're talking over the phone. That was Thursday and Friday. So yesterday and Thursday, they're talking about it, and then today he supposedly said that today at 12 p.m. he called her saying that he was gonna bring the car today. But they all say that. No, she lives. That person lives in. Yeah, but that person right now is in San Francisco.
Right. They weren't heading toward Oakland either, though, right?
No.
It's not like he's there, right?
No, because so what he said, because he just got off of work and he was gonna go to Berkeley and get something to eat, and then probably meet up with her later.
Okay.
But I have to wait until the other person comes.
Yeah, let's see what this. Hey, what's up?
Alright, man. How tired are you with this other person? Yeah. Okay, so you think she's gonna say, because, dude, if she's... Okay, so I'm gonna be man. If she says like, oh, because the slightest thing that we need is, deprivation of a property, right? It's her vehicle, and technically by you saying that you guys were on the phone saying that, hey, she wants her car back, you're basically depriving that person of her vehicle when she says, I want my car back today, or Thursday, Friday, whatever that day was. So you had 2 days. you guys were talking over the phone, and then she was saying that, hey, bring the car back. I understand that today is Saturday, and you talked to her, and she lives in, but you're going to, when were you expecting to go to?
I was literally going to just go grab her some food for one of these favorite little African places that she was going to get, and I was going to go back.
Okay. So, like I said, I'm being straight up with you. If she comes and says, like, yeah, I give him permission, this will happen, then your story matches up, and then I'm going to ask her, hey, you want to press charges on him and this and that, and we'll go from there, okay? What was that? Go south, man. You know what's gonna happen, right? Yeah. I mean, you've been compliant, so I'm pretty sure we can take you to Berkeley. I'm saying this is like worst case scenario. Take you to Berkeley, you get a whole cell to yourself, and then after that, they might transfer you later to like a different jail until you wait for a judge to see the report and then see what happens. But like I said, it's all dependent on what she says and what's gonna happen from there on. Okay. Was that damage? Did you do it, or the damage on the vehicle? Did you do that damage, or was it already there? That was already there. Okay. You have any warrants on you, man, or anything? No? You ever been arrested before?
Yeah.
For what? You got into what?
So just like probably like domestic for my home.
You got a failure to appear, man? You got a warrant?
What?
You got a warrant out for you?
No.
It's just failure to appear, man.
I didn't even know I had a court. I never got no court yet. Failure to appear for what? I never had gotten a court.
Well, we'll wait what they say. You ever evaded officers?
Evaded?
Yeah, evaded. Yo. Sergeant's out here. We'll see. We'll see what the 27 and 29. Alright, sounds good. Yeah, bye-bye. Where do you live right now, man? You live in Rodeo still?
Yes, sir.
Same address? Stay in the vehicle, okay? Where are you trying to get to? The marina. He's gonna be that way, man.
So, we'll walk this way to which street?
Marina? It's probably gonna be...
University?
Okay, good. No, go right here. Turn right, then turn right, and then there's a walking path.
Okay.
Around, it goes up.
So turn right, then another right.
Yeah, here, you want to look at the map here?
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. So 2 rights.
2 rights and then a left.
A left. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Take a right. Yeah.
Bridge over the freeway.
I think we're taking it.
Yeah, what's this right now?
I think he has a warrant.
Oh, really?
Holding it, I think they go ahead. I think for Vallejo. Holding it 96 there. It's A from last of Thornton. Think. What was it? Felony evading to pursuit? No, assuming that's what the warrant said. It has something from Vallejo PD. But it says no sight. Or no sight release. So really? Probably gonna take me. No, it's 27.
August.
Is it the same one? Does it say the vehicle?
That catch problem. That's okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you got a good statement from him?
Yeah. For this one, yeah.
And then yeah?
I'm just waiting for the victim party.
Let him drive off?
I think so, yeah. And then get the other person's statement, and then get the 180, and then...
180 done, right?
Yeah. And so I gotta do the finishing up. I'm gonna do it to the properties on the vehicle and mark everything down, or? No. Okay. Damage either, right? Or you put damage?
You can put damage.
Or just wait for them to come. I mean, that's what the Profit 115 is for.
Yeah, do you have one on you? Or?
Maybe. I have to look in my little folder.
Yeah, see if you have one, otherwise, I mean, it's kind of... Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah. The value of it and all that.
Yeah.
Any damage. Okay. Alright, man. So, I guess you do have a warrant? From Vallejo? So, when did this happen? I mean, it says failure to appear. I mean, you could bring it up to them, man, but you have a warrant out, and it's not a citable offense, so I can't just let you, send a paper and then let you go.
Please grab a jacket out that truck for me.
What color is it? Blue? What does it say on it? It says what? M? Okay. What was that? Yeah. I'll let you do it right now in a bit, okay? Golden Gymnastics, go ahead. Golden Gymnastics, I copy. Show me 10:15 at time of the chamber, please.